Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence. And it is Virginia Tech. This isn't some rinky-dink-ass program.
Come on, JC.
We're going to put this old guy in the grade. We'll go over some of the stats really fast. It's the percent. 11.
It's an 11 game.
Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence. We are on location in Charlotte. And Sam, we took in the game last night. We're going to do a little, but we need a cheers from you to just kick this thing off. Right. We'll talk a little bit about the Mayo Bowl.
I guess my cheers is to the 2025 season because we are 239 days away from kickoff in Atlanta versus South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I'll tell you, we have Billy Ray passing through the background there.
It distracted me for a second, though.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm drinking a Coors Banquet, so we're really we're doing it classy. Sam did get the craft beer.
I did. So I got the Christmas Ale from Great Lakes Brewing out of Cleveland, Ohio. This Christmas Ale is it's a big deal. Like this beer is really
they do
well
a big
known.
release for it every year.
Huge release. It is delicious. It's my favorite winter beer.
Yeah.
One of the most critically acclaimed winter fest beers you have out there. So Christmas Ale, Great Lakes Brewing, 4.5.
4.5?
4.5. It's a great
Billy
beer.
took one sip and he was like, damn, this is good.
It's a good beer.
And he's not a huge craft guy, but that was a good review from him.
It's a great
Robbie's wife is from Ohio, and so he would always bring this beer up. He's had it a couple times on the show. It is a great beer.
Yep.
Let's get into the game just a little bit here. You were in the booth.
Yeah.
You got a chance to be with the press and everything. First of all, when you're in the booth, is it a fun atmosphere? Did they put Mayo out for everyone? How was it up there?
Yeah. So we actually did have jars of Mayo at everyone's seat.
Oh.
It was really crowded. I mean, they have a great press box, but it was shoulder to shoulder packed.
Okay.
It's a really cool vantage point because you can actually focus on the game and not the things going around the game, the music going
you were
around.
paying
talking
more
to
attention
people.
than probably almost anyone.
You're watching ball.
Yeah.
You're solely watching ball. I think from that, though, you were able to see Virginia Tech had a lot of deficiencies last night. We obviously know the roster wasn't a full roster.
It wasn't full. No.
And we know that about drive 3 or 4, we started to see the reserves of the reserves come in. And I think once you saw that, you knew what kind of night it was going to be for the Hokies.
Yeah. There was a lot of things that went on. So let's just talk about the offensive, because we saw Pop come in. He started the game, and it wasn't pretty, and that's kind of what we expected because of the offensive line. I'm not blaming Pop or Schlee for a lot of the offensive struggles. We only had 220-some yards.
Yeah,
what did
4
you think
yards
about
per
the
play.
quarterback switching in and out stuff? What was going on there?
I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. And I especially think you saw a couple of times, by the time Pop received the snap, there was 2 defensive linemen on him.
He had zero time.
Yeah, putting a guy back out there for 60 minutes of play is asking for them to get injured in that case. And this is a game that clearly, and I don't mean this to come off the wrong way, but Virginia Tech didn't come into this game saying we need to win. That was pretty obvious from the beginning of the game. So if you're not playing balls to the wall to win the game, don't go out there and put a guy in a situation where he could get hurt.
And I kind of lambasted Miami and their staff for letting Cam Ward sit the second half and all that kind of stuff. Our coaches, they treated it like an exhibition. They wanted to get as many guys playing. That seemed apparent. The switching of the quarterbacks was a little helter-skelter. I don't think we would have saw that in a real game.
No.
And if we were just going to talk about how they played, Colin Schlee did seem like he was a little bit more effective.
Yeah, and I think especially when you have that much pressure, being taller helps. He did seem more effective. He had some of the bigger pass plays. I thought Pop did a good job escaping. He has elite pocket presence.
He does.
For a freshman.
He does.
He missed some throws. Accuracy is an issue. I think it was good and bad from both quarterbacks. I think the offensive line really, really struggled. We expected that. I would also say with Pop as a young quarterback, there were not a lot of checks at the line, not a lot of pass protection changes. Yeah. And it was very similar to the Duke game where Tech was beaten before the ball was snapped on both sides of the ball a lot last night.
And it's something we just talked about a minute ago. With the amount of switches at the linebacker positions we've had, typically your middle linebacker is the one making those checks, making those changes on defense. And Keller has improved a lot this year, but he's probably not at the level where he can check out of things and do that with the command of maybe Dax in his senior year.
Yeah, nothing like that right now on the defensive side. And you had a lot. I mean, there was a drive where Virginia Tech had 4 walk-ons on the field defensively. Like this is what Tech was like. The fact that Tech held Minnesota to 24 points actually is a good thing. But you saw they were beaten pre-snap a lot of times.
They were.
Minnesota ran a lot of the same plays that Rutgers ran and that have given Tech trouble in the past, where they are just spreading out that linebacker core and guys are having to run 10, 15 yards before they even have a chance to make the play. And so I think you combine that with having a lot of backups in there, with not having your best pass rusher, you start to add things up where it was an uphill battle for Virginia Tech all night long. It was always going to be.
It was. And I do think there were some bright spots from the young guys, and that early bounce off the helmet turnover that we got, like that, it was like, oh, maybe here's the recipe for a little bit of an upset. And we put up some points, and we took a lead, all that kind of good stuff. I thought there were bright spots from Caleb Woodson, Keelan Adams finally getting to play and have that big play. Like, that was probably our biggest play of the game, other than the field goal.
Other than the field goal, which we will talk about. Yeah, I thought Woodson was pretty good on defense. He looks to be a guy who can really be a star. Not the position, but like be a star on defense.
He can be, for sure.
I thought Dante Lovett played very well.
And we've been counting on him to take over that starting
Yeah, glad he got
role.
that interception off the tip ball at the end. And then kind of moving back to the offensive side, Keelan Adams shows why he was so highly recruited. Like, he had some bursts. Aiden Green was maybe the best player on the field last night.
He's such an
athlete.
athlete,
He looks so good.
Yeah, he looks like an NFL guy. I don't know if he'll get there, but like, he has that kind of potential. If he could cut down on the drops and be more consistent, he could be an NFL guy.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of drop off in wide receiver production year over year for Tech. In fact, I think it might get better.
Yeah, it's crazy because going into the year, you would think, oh, this is going to be the best year for Tech wide receivers in a decade or maybe ever. We didn't see that type of production. Some of that was quarterback, some of that was the offense, some of that was O-line, but it was a disappointing year from wide receiver position.
Yeah.
And so going into next year, we hit the portal already. Tucker Holloway's coming back. And the young guys in the program, I really wish Chance had brought that one in last night.
Yeah.
It was so close. There was a couple plays where Colin Schley like really made something happen, and then we got interfered with, and the refs were refusing to call pass interference.
It was a weirdly officiated game. Yeah.
Really weird. And our guys couldn't come down with the ball, whether it was Ali or Chance or whatever. But like, it was fun to watch those guys and see the potential on offense.
And I think another guy who showed some potential offensively was Tyler Mason.
Okay.
Showed some burst.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Showed some burst. Tech brought in a lot of running backs, right? And I think they are saying right now, we are going to be a running back by committee team. I don't think they are going to be a team with a Ashton Genty style volume guy.
Right.
They want to be running back by committee.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the positions, along with everyone on offensive line and everyone on the defensive secondary and everyone on the defensive line. Open competition this spring.
What I'm curious about going into 2025, looking forward, bringing in Matt Moore. Pry has said he wants to be a running team. He has said that a lot, like we want to run the football and play defense. But at the same time, this year, we didn't really see that from the offense. They tried to pass, then they had to go back to the run, and I've said many times, Tyler Bowen seems to run the ball like against his will.
Yeah.
And so if Matt Moore comes in and it's maybe a different style of O with him and Bowen, like there's got to be some type of agreement. If that O-line coach isn't going to work with your offense, you don't hire him.
Yeah.
So what does Bowen want to do?
Right. And I think, part of it this year too with the run-pass split that we saw in some games, I think the injuries played a big part of that. Kyron Jones was injured pretty much from day one.
Yep.
Bashal too injured second half of the season, I guess roughly you could say.
Banged up, still played like a champ.
And so what you're doing is, okay, my top quarterback who's a running threat is not healthy. He can't move around. He's not a threat as much to run. My top running back, who's the star of my team, he can't do a ton of stuff for me right now.
Yeah.
As a play caller, what do you do in that sense? Like, your bread and butter is gone. And I think going into next season, like going into this spring, going into summer ball, looking at 2025, Tech has to be able to bread and butter run the ball.
Yes.
And then figure out the wide receiver stuff because they have talent.
They do.
And I think it's just so much about staying healthy. Those two guys not being healthy for the second half of the year, I think really, really hurt this team.
Let's take just a quick break to talk a little bit about the game and then a little bit about the atmosphere and that kind of stuff before we go back to the game stuff. I got kind of drunk yesterday. Me and Billy Ray were clowning around. Hey, by the way, I told you, like, when you watch a game with Billy Ray, you're like getting abused the entire time. He's so big. He's like beating me up like I'm a little brother.
Yeah.
He was headbutting me.
Yeah, Andy Bitter was doing the same thing in the box to me.
I was curious.
But
in the box, is there anyone that like has a good personality? Is there cracking jokes? Is it quiet?
Yeah, it's. I mean, well, first off, people are there to work, right? That's their work. They're doing their job. They have stories to write and stuff like that. Me, I'm just tweeting. I'm not doing jack shit out there. Just tweeting. But it's lighthearted. Guys are watching, and you're with people who are, I don't think, rooting for Virginia Tech as much. Like some are, right? You know, some guys like us are rooting for Virginia Tech. Other guys who are, they'd rather write about a good team than a bad team type thing.
Yeah.
It's lighthearted. It's fun. It's not corporate or anything like that. And I would say another part is, guys, you are going to be really fair about the team up there. I don't think there is this massive agenda against Virginia Tech for some writers that some fans think there is, or some angles that are. I think a lot of them are like straight shooters a bit. And
Andy's a very straight shooter.
And I think what you're going to see...
David Teal's a straight shooter.
What you're going to see across the board with the game last night, taking it back to that, is Tech was never going to win the game. Tech didn't really plan to win the game.
You thought that. You thought Tech was never going to win.
I personally thought there was the
there's
anatomy of an upset.
Yeah, there's
type
always
thing,
a chance.
Right? Like there was a chance Tech could hang in this game. The closer I got to the game, the less I thought they were going to get blown out.
Right.
But also we saw a couple, even when Tech had the 7-0 lead, they were being outplayed. And I think it was pretty clear Minnesota was more prepared to win that game than Virginia Tech was. Definitely. By design.
And exactly. And let's go back to the game now. That was apparent. And I said before the game, during the regular season, Minnesota was a better coach team than us, a tougher team than us. And we had 14 starters out. They had 7 out. So, like, do the math. They were going to win. I never felt great about a win. I felt great about coming down to Charlotte and having a great time and maybe getting to see Pop do something. That was what was more disappointing, is because, and I'm not blaming Pop. He never had a shot. No. When 3 of your offensive linemen are gone, 2 in the portal and 1 that didn't play because who knows why, he had his own reasons. He could have been hurt. Like there's like Keontae Jenkins too. Like we don't know what's going on with these guys. They could have been nursing injuries all year and they need to sit out because neither Caden or Keontae necessarily has a big NFL future. But if they're like, we just heard about Rourke playing on a torn ACL all season. Some of these guys are battling stuff all year and they can't go. So you have 3 offensive linemen out. He didn't have a chance to do what he did against UVA.
You saw some of the escapability that he still has, but I think you saw the positives, and you also saw some of the deficiencies.
Yep.
The accuracy issues, missed a couple throws downfield, short-armed a few passes. You saw the issues, right, that led to him being the third-string guy this year. They didn't just choose that willy-nilly. I think some fans think they do. They didn't. I also think you saw the positive, though. And I think you saw why they really wanted to get him in the boat as a recruit. And I think you saw the wide receiver talent. I think you saw Benji Gosnell had a couple good plays.
Benji did. Yeah. I love Benji, man.
Yeah. And then defensively, look, those guys practice hard. They deserve to get in the game, have some run.
How about Wilfred Panay?
Dude, shout out to Wilfred Panay. Awesome guy. Great story. And talk about year-over-year improvement for a guy. Holy cow, he was good this year.
And he wasn't at all the bowl practices either.
Nope.
He was in France, as we've remarked on many times, with the lunch pail. And we were right that if you take the lunch pail to France, it means you're playing in the game.
You're playing. And I felt so good for him getting that sack.
Yes.
Really improved player. I hope he has a chance to play professionally. I don't know what.
They're putting over there, I think.
Putting?
There's a putting green in this bar.
I don't get that reaction.
We're at the All-American Pub in Charlotte. A little free advertising.
Yes. Cool spot. Great buffalo chicken wrap. I'm a buffalo, so I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a buffalo chicken wrap aficionado.
Like a snob?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty good one here.
Was it spicy, mild?
No, it was spicy. Like a lot of buffalo chicken wraps will be like buffalo flavored.
Yeah.
This was Buffalo
it was the real
wings
deal. Like
are-
they
yeah.
tossed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff.
I'm going through my little like cheap notes here that I've tried to write down. Our defense did give up 400 yards. Darius Taylor went over 100. All things that we could have foreseen.
Tackling was really bad.
The angles,
really bad.
some of the angles we talked about were
Boy.
not good. We're hoping that improves with the addition of Bud Foster, which we got a little bit more clarity on that he will, in fact, have a role going forward. It's not just for the bowl. It's next year. We're still waiting on the DC, which makes a lot of people think that DC is still coaching in the playoff. So,
Or NFL.
But you were with some guys that said no decision has been made.
Well, that is the that's
the company line.
That's the company line right now from the inside. I don't know if that's true. Like I obviously don't know if they know that. My guess is going to be they have a top candidate. They have talked to that top candidate, and they have done everything but sign the dotted line.
Yeah.
That's going to be my guess. Who that guy is? Could it be Poindexter from Penn State? That makes a ton of sense.
That's what a lot of people are pointing to.
A guy like Bob Shoop, who's he's been around to a lot of stops. It could be that guy. We don't know, but nothing has been signed in writing yet.
Yep. And we're eagerly awaiting, and I think at the very least we have to wait till Penn State's out of the playoff. I think that's And hey, they might go win it all. Like it's fun to see. You're good.
Oh, I'm on there.
Yeah,
okay,
you're still
cool,
good.
cool.
But yeah, with regard to the game in general, let's just close it out. The atmosphere was great. A lot of Hokies, a lot of Gophers. I was impressed with the number of Gophers that came to town. It was a lot emptier than the 2016 Belk Bowl, though.
Yeah,
significantly emptier.
Yeah, it was significantly emptier. It was a cold night,
was
but you had. I mean, the lower bowl was
At kickoff, it was
full.
okay. Yeah.
More Hokies, which you would expect, but a lot of Gophers, as you said. It's a really fun game.
It is fun, and you know what? We sat in the club level. I did that on purpose because I'm always cold, so I wanted to hit club level at halftime. Saw so many cool people throughout the night. People saying what's up. Billy catches everyone's eye because he's 6'5", but it was really fun. And Duke's Mayo and their marketing and what they do for these. My wife texted me during the game. She's like, the amount of Mayo shit that they're doing is unbelievable.
It is crazy. It's good for them too for actually embracing this. I think there needs to be more bowls that are like this.
Pop-Tarts does it and Mayo does it the best.
I would not be surprised if you see, and this sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna look in the camera right now. This sounds ridiculous. I know. I would not be surprised if the Mayo Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl start ascending in.
They become, if we expand playoffs, they could be a playoff game.
Dude, I think they might take over something. I'm not kidding.
Take over for the Peach Bowl or something?
Yeah, sure.
It could, because they are building a name for themselves, but the attendance wasn't good last night.
No, I think part of that issue with the attendance is bowl games in cold weather doesn't work.
And the tickets were too expensive.
The tickets were expensive.
They never came down. You think, oh, I'll wait until week of. I did that. And if you want to sit in any kind, any seat was $60.
Yeah.
And where I sat was $100, and they never came down.
Let's go back to the game real quick. Yeah. Player who you needed to see something from for next year, and they showed you something.
Keelan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an easy one. If Chance had brought that pass in, it would have been him, but I think he's going to be a player for sure. And Woodson, we talked about Woodson. He is going to be the best player on the defense next year.
Very well could
in my opinion.
I was really impressed with Keelan. I was really impressed with Aiden Green. I think he clearly is wide receiver one right now. They're drawing up plays for him. They're getting him touches.
You don't think when Holloway comes back he could be wide receiver one?
No, I think it's Aiden Green. And that's nothing against Tucker Holloway. I just think it's the style of wide receiver Aiden Green is and the
tall,
speed he has. He's your go-to guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. He has the frame. He could put a little bit more mass. That's the one thing about our wide receivers is they're all skinny right now.
Yeah.
They're all skinny. We don't have that big body dude right now.
You know what they need? Some more buffalo chicken wraps.
Well, is Selden? He's going to play wide receiver.
Yes,
the transfer
slot. He's a big guy.
He's big.
He's a big guy.
He's big. So there's that. Oh, the Hokies basketball game just started, so that's a good cue for us to cut it off.
Yeah. Oh boy, talk about attendance, Pete.
ACC play, baby.
Oh no.
That doesn't look so good. Yeah, it's a little light in Castle right now, but thank you guys for watching with us all season. Sam and I will be back to do more of a season recap later on. It'll probably be later this week. College Football Monday should be coming at you. Monday night, live as always. But thank you for rocking with us all season long.
Yes, thank
you. It was
you.
a fun season, and thanks to Sam, too, for his work, because I can basically tell him to record whenever, and he's like, I'm good, and he's prepared, and you got good things to say. So, dude, I appreciate it. Your work is definitely it's awesome, and
So
I know Robbie appreciates it too.
Dude, Robbie, this is for you, Robbie. This is for you.
Hell yeah! All right, and that's gonna do it.